Good evening. I'm Chris Matthews in Washington. Before we get started tonight, let me tell you a story. It's a good story about how this country of ours is supposed to work. In 1980, Ronald Reagan was elected president. He promised big change, and he came into office ready to make change. The Democrats who had lost the election opposed him in Congress, but they didn't obstruct him. They didn't threaten to keep the Senate in session right up until Christmas Eve. The Speaker of the House, Thomas P. Tip O'Neill, who I was working for at the time, believed the voters had made their decision and figured the man they elected had a right to his turn at bat. In 2008, Barack Obama ran for president promising big change. He told the voters he'd be a transformative president. He promised us one big thing, health care reform. Just like Reagan, he had made it clear in his appeal to the voters when he came into office he was going to deliver what he promised, the change he had promised. What's been different this time? It's been the decision by the opposition, this time the Republicans, to use every parliamentary maneuver to stop the new president from doing what he promised the American people he would do, what they elected him knowing he intended to do. To his historic credit, Speaker O'Neill ended up balancing off the extremes of Reagan's policies. The Democrats ended up picking up 26 seats in that 82 election. He and President Reagan teamed up to save Social Security in 83 and to pass a much-respected tax reform bill in 86 that cut rates and plugged loopholes. Tip O'Neill retired, by the way, in 1986 with a job approval rating of 67%. Ronald Reagan didn't do much worse, rather. But ironically, their tough debate made both leaders look better by each doing their job, by accepting majority rule, by displaying mutual respect, and without obstruction, they made America better. We start tonight with this cranky, clanky conduct in the United States Senate on health care. Senator Bernie Sanders is an independent from Vermont. Senator Sanders, what do you make of the Republican Party this year and the way they've chosen to use their prerogatives?
I think it's really sad. You know, these guys had 8 years to do something about health care, and under their watch, on the Bush's watch, 7 million more people lost their health insurance and premiums soared. All right, they did nothing when they had control, and now, because some of us are trying to go forward and make sure that 30 million more people have insurance, we got some insurance reform, disease prevention, community health centers. They are obstructing in a way that nobody has seen around here in decades. I introduced a Medicare for all single-payer bill. It was going to lose, Chris, maybe 5 votes, maybe 10 votes. They wanted to read 700 pages of that bill and just obstruct any kind of progress that we're making.
Knowing that that was a long shot to begin with, just to raise hell, just to have fun.
Right. Absolutely. Well, also to make sure that we slow down things. They have broken the all-time world's record for filibusters as well as for other dilatory practices. It's never been done the way they have done it. And it's very clear. They've got nothing to offer. And then what they want to say, if they prevent Obama or the Democratic leadership from accomplishing anything, then they'll go to the public and say, what did these guys accomplish? That's very clearly what their purpose is. And I think it's pretty pathetic. And your point is right. You know, Tip O'Neill worked with Reagan. Reagan won the election. Well, these guys don't like it. Obama won the election. Work with him.
Okay, let's listen to one of your Democratic colleagues from Rhode Island. This is Sheldon Whitehouse on Sunday. I think he makes a somewhat different point, but it makes the same sort of bottom line. Let's listen.
The birthers, the fanatics, the people running around in right-wing militias and Aryan support groups, it is unbearable to them that President Barack Obama should exist.
How much of that is that deep-seated ideology, almost nativist, maybe it is nativist ideology on the far right, that's energizing this obstructionism? What do you think is the connection?
Well, there's no question that you have a very strong, extreme right-wing effort in this country that, to the degree that they're quote-unquote birthers, they don't believe that Obama even should be in the White House. And it is very clear to me that that base is doing everything they can to make sure that Obama does not succeed. And I think that that is really a bad news situation for this country. Look, in terms of this health care bill, Chris, I'm not going to tell you it's the greatest thing in the world. I believe in a Medicare for all single-payer bill. A lot in this bill. I think we should have a strong public option. There are other components of this bill that I don't like. But you know what? At the end of the day, just during community health centers, you're going to have 25 million more people who have access to primary health care. 20,000 new primary